parents and the children could have fun together.
Please board quickly and safely. Our monorail will be departing momentarily.
Welcome to the My DVC Points podcast. Join the conversation as DVC members share their stories, personal preferences, and magical memories. Your reservation is confirmed, your fast passes are booked. Pull up on the yellow strap because our journey into the magic of membership is about to begin.
To infinity and beyond.
Now, here's your host and curator of magical stories, Chad Pennycuff.
Welcome home, neighbors, to the My DVC Points podcast. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at DVCResaleMarket.com. They are the world's leader in DVC resales, and we're talking about Hilton Head today and kind of a mini trip report that from my summer travels that's going to end up taking me to Vero Beach, Hilton Head, and Aulani. Now, I haven't completed the Aulani leg yet, but it'll be my third visit to Aulani and my family's second. And this was my family's first visit to Hilton Head, my second visit, and my second visit with my son to Vero Beach. The rest of the family didn't do it because if you guys have been following along with the My DVC Points community, you know, we linked up with the DCL Duo podcast and cross-promoted their inaugural cruise. So a bunch of our people went, and then our people being DVC people said, hey, if we're going to go to Fort Lauderdale and take a cruise, then we're going to just knock Vero off of our list. And so a bunch of us went to Vero Beach before and then had the couple-hour drive down south to Fort Lauderdale. So that's what's going on in this show. In order to help me out with this trip report, ask questions from your guys' perspectives, I've got the wonderful, the amazing, the talented, the beautiful, our super polite Canadian neighbor, Sandy. So,
oh my goodness. How much is that to live up to there, Chad? My goodness.
Oh my
I
God,
am
Sandy.
So excited to be back with you folks. You'll have to excuse the little hoarseness in my voice. I'm fighting off a little bit of a cold, but I am more than happy to talk about these wonderful places, of which I have been to all three of them, and I love them all. So just to give you that perspective, and I'm more than excited to hear how things have morphed since the last time I've been there.
Yes. So before we get into that as well, have to do a huge shout out to Sandy. And if you guys are looking to book an ABD, a Walt Disney World trip on cash, anything that a travel agent can serve you on, check Sandy's website out at experienceMagicalAdventures.com. She is an earmarked travel agency owner now and all of that awesome stuff. She's been partnering with us and joining us on our shows for way before she opened up this travel agency and all of that. So anyways, guys, Sandy will not promote herself. She is just that level of awesomeness. So I have to come back in and do it, but experienceMagicalAdventures.com. Did I get that right, Sandy?
You did. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Like I said, I am very shy about promoting that on the podcast, especially. But I love helping folks plan their trips from A to Z. It's just gives me a lot of joy, and got great guests and great podcast people here on our podcast as well.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, we are officially travel agent agnostic. However, we have a bunch of awesome travel agents that listen to our show, that contribute to our show, that come back in and help us out, that are Patreon members even. So if you're on a show with me, I promote the devil out of your services because I believe in helping the people that help you. And Sandy does an awful lot for our community. So I would feel really good and warm and fuzzy to know that some of our listeners started to book with Sandy to experience her awesomeness and one-on-one and travel planning. So enough of the ads here, Sandy, right?
I wasn't expecting it, but thank you.
Yeah. And again, it's like we have our sponsors from World of DVC doing resale, rental, and financing. And they did buy a travel agency, but at that point in time, I had already had this awesome community built with a standard of TA agnostic stuff. So I just had to come in and tell them, hey, look, I know we can do point swaps and you'll go through Be Our Guest vacations, but we're sticking to our agnostic policy here. And, you know, all are welcome. And if you serve people with awesomeness, we will be glad to share that out with you. So if you are a travel agent and you have not shared your DVC story with us, drop me an email at mydvcpoints@gmail.com because we're always looking for people to share their DVC story, and you're more than welcome to come back in and promote your agency as well. So that's just kind of our take on things. Is we love travel agents. We think our core audience has got Disney World nailed, but there's DCL, ABDs, and some other things that you could really use professional help on. And
Absolutely.
yeah, because these guys are hovering mystic gurus. They're pricing it. They're doing all that other fun stuff. So anyways, really now back to the show. Okay.
All right. Sounds good, Chad.
Okay. So what do you want to hit me up with first, Sandy?
Okay, so you were recently at Hilton Head and you were at Vero Beach over the course of the last month or so, I would say. So today I wanted to find out more about Hilton Head because they've gone through like a whole refurb since the last time that I was there a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic.
Oh my God, Sandy, the refurb is amazing.
Okay, cool. So I want to hear all about that. So we're going to divide it up. First, let's start with your room. Like, where did you stay? What kind of category of room did you stay in? And tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, so first off is the booking process. We wanted to check in July 3rd and check out July 5th.
Ooh.
And yeah. And our dates were not flexible because my daughter has a dance competition that prevented her from going on the cruise with us with the DCL Duo family. So it was in Savannah and it was July 1st and 2nd. And so we really had to come back in, and then they won some stuff and it spilled over into the night of the 3rd. But anyways, my wife was like, hey, if you can get us in on the 3rd, we'll need a place to stay. And Savannah is 45 an hour drive, something like that.
Yeah, it's really close.
It's not bad at all, right? So I had no flexibility. And I am ashamed to admit, Sandy, I did not try to walk the reservation. I didn't try to do any of my power moves on this. I went and woke up at at the 7-month mark at 8:15 and went, I'm supposed to be booking Hilton Head today. And of course it was gone in 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just nothing.
Faster than that, Chad. Faster than that.
Yeah. So I got on the wait list at 7 months, an hour and 15 minutes late. And about 33 days before check-in, my wait list came in. Now
that's awesome.
Yeah. Now I didn't get an email on it. I didn't get anything on it. Nothing.
So do you know I've never received anything confirming a wait list? I'll just like randomly be popping in there to kind of like check my availabilities and maybe like grab something as it enters the system. And then I'll see that my wait list has come through. So I don't know if it's just like a glitch in the DVC system that those never come through, but I would love to hear from other people if their wait lists actually get like to them through email, or do they just
I did a
have to
post
keep
on this
popping in?
recently, and come to find out, if you're replacing an existing reservation, then you check the box and it will send you a cancellation email that your old one got canceled. And that's how people are figuring it out. But I never got anything. So me being me, I decided, okay, well, you can't always rely on the wait list. So I'm going to stalk the website. So I had the night of the 3rd and the night of the 5th booked, but not the night of the 4th. And that's when I looked down and I was like, wait a minute. When I'm stalking for that night of the 4th, I'm going, where'd my points go? What's going on here? And I looked down, and so I had the 3rd and the 5th booked, plus the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I had 3 reservations.
Oh my.
So I just canceled my single night stalking as well, which, is a very valid tip. You just go in there and stalk the website and look for your one night, look for your 2 nights. You book whatever you can find. And eventually you get all 3 of them booked, and then you call DVC and beg and go, can you link all my reservations together? And
I was going to say, it's the begging that you have to do afterwards. That's like not the easiest to sometimes do. Like I have had vacations where we've had to change rooms halfway through, just because they haven't been able to sync us up for whatever reason.
Yeah. Then you get that annoying sound like you're annoying them, but they're Disney, so they can't let you know that you're being an annoying guest.
Are you kidding me? Disney is never annoyed with their guests, Chad. Come on.
Oh my
never,
God.
Ever.
Yeah. More on that coming up today, right? More on that coming up today. So anyways, the wait list came through, and because there's 5 of us now, and there's other dance competition people, and I think Laura wanted to bring a girlfriend down to do this road trip. So her bestie at work and co-teacher that she team teaches with and all of that said, hey, I'll come with you guys. And so they did a road trip. They came down to Orlando, spent a couple of days here, and then went to the competition. Then we went to Hilton Head. After Hilton Head, they drove back to Michigan, and I came back to Orlando. And so let's talk about that experience as well, because my previous trip to Hilton Head, I found a last minute Delta deal for like $170 round trip from Detroit to Hilton Head Island, not Savannah, the little dinky airport that's on the island that only flies to like Atlanta and back.
Amazing.
170-ish bucks. This was in the pandemic era as well. So, and I look and I'm like, it's January and I'm going 6 points a night for some studios. There's like 3-4 nights here. I can work from wherever. So I'll just fly in, work from there, and at least check off Hilton Head off my list and get the experience, right?
Right.
Sandy, there's a world of difference between Hilton Head in January and July 4th weekend.
I could have told you that, Chad.
Yeah. I know. But it's like, I got to go to the resort. I got to do some room mappings and some other things like that. It's what I did after work. And
it was research.
Yeah, it was a purely research trip. But let me tell you something. Half the restaurants were closed. Like the island was a ghost town.
Because it's a summer town.
Yeah, I get it. It's a summer tourist deal. And when I'm explaining it to my family, I was like, Laura, this is like Traverse City in Michigan or the Silver Lake Sand Dunes area in Michigan. Like the Michigan travel economy is a summer only travel economy, right? We have some little ski hills there and they're hills compared to anything else, but it's primarily a summer awesomeness community with the Great Lakes and boating and all of that kind of fun stuff. And I thought Hilton Head being farther south, it wouldn't be a summer only type deal, but it's a summer only type deal.
It is absolutely the best time of year to go to Hilton Head in the summer. I mean, I can just imagine what the weather must have been like when you were there during the winter period in January. It must have been cold. It must have been like that cold that gets into your bones because you're by the ocean.
No? That's what I had in Detroit. And it was like in the 40s. So 40s and 50s.
Okay.
So it wasn't bad. And coming from freezing, bone chilling January in Detroit at the time, it was kind of nice. And the pools are heated there. So I did do the pools and the slides and all of that. Because I mean, like I'm a DVC guy. Like we
and you're a slide guy too.
Yeah, we talk about slides. We talk about all of that. So it's like I had to do it. Like I didn't know when I was coming back. But I left that January trip saying, I have got to bring my family back here at some point in time. And it just so happened to work out that this dance competition was there. And I'm looking at it going, okay, well, they're already going to be there. It's about a 5-hour drive for me here in Orlando.
Which is absolutely like feasible and easy.
Yeah. So last time in January, the whole beach house is here and the resort is basically on an island in the marsh. Mm-hmm. Didn't sit well with me. It really didn't sit well with me at all. But now I'm to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm not a beach guy. I don't like sand. I don't like all the odd places that sand gets. Like I literally pulled out my aqua socks, which I wear anytime I get near the water,
right?
Whether it's a pool or something else, because I don't want to walk on hot cement around a pool deck.
Gotcha.
And I had the slightly pink sand in there from Lighthouse Point in my aqua socks, and I hauled it up to Hilton Head. Like, and it's still in my luggage and all. Yeah, I don't like sand. Okay.
Gotcha. But by the same token, there is something to be said about that beach.
That beach is, if you're a beach person, it's
great.
It's deep and wide and there's all kinds
of compact. It's very, very dense. So you can bike on it, which is a rarity at most beaches. Like there's no way you could bike on the beach at Vero. There's just like too much fluff.
No, you can barely trog through the beach at Vero. Mm-hmm. It's worse than walking in snow because like snow just compacts, right? And this sand, you just kind of sink into it and you got to pull your feet out of it and like high step march.
It's very fluffy. Whereas at Hilton Head, the sand is super duper compact. The beaches are wide. The dip into the ocean is super gradual. You've got a ways to walk though from the beach house until you actually get to the beach because you have to go through kind of like the dunes area. But even there, they've got this great walkway that's like a boardwalk that brings you out straight to the beach, which is fabulous. We honestly love Hilton Head and the beaches there. They're fabulous.
Yeah. So I much prefer the beach there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my family likes the Aulani beach because it's the ocean and the cove and it's kind of protected a little bit more. And sharks have to swim through some nets and all this other stuff.
No big fish.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, I get that. But yeah, the beach there. And Sandy, I have fallen in love with the beach house.
It's so cute, right?
Well, remember here in Orlando, we're in Florida, we're tropical, but we're an hour from the ocean. And so
Hmm.
we don't get ocean breeze here.
No, you're kind of like humidity, over the top humidity.
Correct. And there's no like breeze off of the ocean to cool us down.
Right.
But over here at Hilton Head, it's slightly hot and muggy there in the marsh area. But when
Hmm.
you go to that beach house, that cool breeze was blowing in and it was warm, but you still had a breeze and it wasn't bad. Like I still didn't want to sit out there. Like I wanted my air conditioning, but this is July 4th. Okay. But it
you
wasn't bad.
you could have pit stopped into like the activity rooms if you really wanted to have some AC along the way at the beach house.
Oh yeah. We talked about it, and Laura has some conditions where she can't be out in the heat for extended amount of time, and so she was like, "Well, what am I going to do for AC there if it gets too hot?" And I'm like, "We got you, okay."
Hmm.
Beach House has a little air conditioned room that's there. It's awesome. It's great to take a break from it all. And you've got a bar there, you've got a snack bar there, a little quick service, and
And shaded seating if you do need it.
shaded seating. You've also got a pool there. So you can still get all of that awesome vibe of the ocean, but I don't have to deal with the sand.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you really want to like take your time to like sing, like to soak in kind of like the ocean breeze, you can just stand up and look over the railing of the beach house because it's got a
Mhm.
beautiful view out to the ocean. Honestly, it's fabulous. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the only Disney resort, and I don't know if they still do it now because it's been a couple of years since we've been there, that has volleyball in the pool.
Ooh, I did not see a net there on either trip. And
Okay,
that's,
so maybe that's something that they've changed up, but on our last trip that we were there, they actually had a volleyball net up, which was really fun for the kids to be able to go and kind of join a pool volleyball game along the way. So
yeah,
if
there
they've
were,
taken it down, then maybe, but it was
I'll put it to you this way. The net wasn't there, but there was a family definitely playing with a volleyball in the water.
okay, cool.
Okay, so maybe they were able to check it out from the rec thing there. And my son has gone absolutely crazy over playing all of the resort type games, ping
Hmm.
pong, foosball, shuffleboard, all of those kind of things, and was just over the moon. The only way he would agree to go back to the beach house is if I would agree to play billiards with him. And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm
And that's one of the really cool things too about Hilton Head. They've kind of like split the community hall in two. So you have like the community hall that's at the beach, because that they have that lovely sitting room where they have like the TVs, the air conditioning, all that fun stuff. Great if you have to have a baby that needs to take a nap. But then they also have like their own quick service that's there. They have the bar with, do they still do the Mickey shaved ice or the ice, the snow cones?
I did not see Mickey shaved ice there. So
Hmm.
I'm shocked because it was there last time in January, but I really didn't want to drink this trip. So
Okay,
I didn't
gotcha.
really like hang out too
Head
much
over
over
the
there.
bar. Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of kind of like nooks and crannies to that beach house that makes it very comfortable. If you need AC, if you need to have like some downtime doing alternate activities from the beach, if you need alternate activities from the pool. So I think it's a hidden gem. And not only that, but if you get there early enough in the morning, you can park under the building.
Yeah, that's
So
the pro
you're,
tip. Get there early, park
yeah.
under the building. Your car is not baking in the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and it's amazing. So, like being there in summer now, like, okay, all you Hilton Head fans, I get you. I validate you. I am joining you. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you don't have your own vehicle with you while you're there, they do have the shuttle that runs back and forth
Mhm.
to the other compound that's on the marsh where the rooms are. On like it's just a circuit. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that's also an alternative, and it's about a 5 minute drive. It's not very long at all.
Yeah, so we started to take the bus there, and then we looked at the little sign near the exit where you would walk towards the bus stop, and it said, "Hey,
Hmm.
there's parking spots available now." Because it was
Hmm.
like three, and I guess people had their beach fill and came back. So we turned around and grabbed a minivan and just drove over there. But
Oh,
then
that's
we're
awesome.
sitting there, and I realized, oh, I left my phone in the room. So I wanted to go back and get it. And at that point in time, the bus driver comes up and goes, "Hey, do you guys have transportation?" It was 450 last call for the bus ride. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ride the bus back and leave my family here and let them chill. It was everything that you love about the buses from the Disney parks to your
Yeah.
Disney resort.
Yeah. No,
Because
I can see that.
having a house right off property now, when somebody wants to go back to the house and we're off property, it's really a pain. You really feel the pain of not being in a DVC resort going to Walt Disney World when one of your kids can't just decide, I want to go back to the room and hop a bus. Well, you've got that at Hilton Head. Yes, we drove there because it was awesome and we could. And I figured, okay, well, if it's open, there's probably spots underneath, which there was.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I needed to leave early, it was no problem. I just hopped the bus and we're back and we're off.
Absolutely. No, it's a really nice perk. And then, so just to circle back a little bit, we haven't actually gotten into what your room was like. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and about the accommodations that they have at Hilton Head?
Yeah. So we booked a 2-bedroom, which is the most like numerically readily available room there. There's more 2-bedrooms in inventory than anything else. It's they really overdid the 2-bedroom. So if you're trying to get in on the wait list there, pony up the points for a 2-bedroom and just do it and make it happen. Because that's probably how my wait list came in, was there was just enough of them and I was on it early enough is really probably the story that's happening there as well.
It's a great tip, especially if like you're maybe going with a larger extended family. That lends itself really nicely to having maybe the grandparents along and whatnot. So can you get into kind of like the way that the accommodation is split up?
So yeah, this is your standard 2-bedroom. And if you go over to mydvcpoints.com/HHI for Hilton Head Island, scroll down to room tours and room information, you can see the old outdated video that's still up there. And there are 76 dedicated 2-bedroom units here, 21 lock-off units, 1,311 square feet. This is at the top of the list in terms of space in a 2-bedroom. And
that's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Your living room, it makes all the difference in the world to me. And I don't know why it is, but it makes it feel more like home when you have a corner with a window in both corners. It feels more like a house because your house just doesn't have front windows and back windows unless you live in a condo or something. So it's like it feels more like a home, and the little kitchen table is set in a corner window so you can see out 2 directions. And I absolutely positively love that. So A, you've got huge. B, they've done this refurb here within the last year that has literally brought these up to the latest and greatest DVC standard. We have a Murphy bed that's there that pulls down. My wife slept on it with the kids one night when, another story we'll get into. Lincoln had a little bit of a ER visit while we were there.
Oh, no.
So she slept on both beds and she's like, man, this is just as comfortable as any of the other beds that are here. And for that Murphy bed, she had no issues and no complaints with it at all. And then you've got the super wide, like chair and a half wide that pulls out into a bed. So this thing can sleep 9 very, very easily. And the master bath is laid out exceptionally well as well, because you can have somebody like the master bath has got the weird split to it from early DVC, but it's not really that bad. There's just 2 entrances into the toilet, shower, sink room. And then there's another like get ready area with a sink where you can brush your teeth and it's attached to the bathroom or like the soaking tub. Because they, in the latest DVC standards, we lost all the jacuzzis and they made them all soaking tubs. So that's okay. All I did was dry my bathing suit out over the tub edge. So because I am not a bath guy, I'm more of a shower guy. But yeah, the room's huge. We got exceptionally lucky, Sandy, and we got on the boardwalk. So it was building 14.
Oh, that's so nice. So pretty.
Room 21. So if you've ever been there, there's like this area that they had to build a boardwalk so that you could walk from the main check-in building down to the rest of the buildings in the resort. Yeah, and the resort is like individual buildings, kind of old Key West style. And most buildings have 4 2-bedrooms in them. And all of the rooms are elevated up. So spoiler alert here, if you've got somebody that needs wheelchair access, you can't even request a ground floor room here because of the marsh and flooding and all that stuff. They're all built up like at least half a story.
Yeah. So however, if you do request in the main hall, they do have the elevator.
Yeah. The main hall. And then they built like a a railing decking out to like 2 of the other buildings. So those are all wheelchair accessible with an elevator.
Oh, that's good to know.
But by and large, the vast majority of this resort is not wheelchair accessible. And I don't believe any of the 3 bedrooms are wheelchair accessible as well.
Yeah,
So
just something to keep in mind, definitely.
yeah, something to keep that in mind as well when you come to Hilton Head. So that was the room. It was amazing. I guess I'll have to find one on YouTube and update my website that's a 2-bedroom because my family checked in early before I could come there and film it. Yeah, ongoing issue.
That's why my family always waits in the corridor and they're always like rolling their eyes at me by the time I get back out of the room because it's taken me forever to take the room tour videos.
Yes, and they're important.
Just to recap the room. Okay, so we have our main living area with our full kitchen, correct? Mm-hmm. You got a sofa and kind of like a recliner chair that transforms into a bed. The sofa is a Murphy bed that folds out on top of the sofa. You've got your TV, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a similar layout. I say similar, not exactly, but similar to Old Key West and Vero Beach, because you've got the center island there that they've got the big screen TV on in the kitchen that kind of faces the family room area. Yeah. And so
you're not cooking, watching TV. The rest of the family is kind of watching TV, watching you.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then you've got your master that has kind of like the Jack and Jill access to it with the king size bed. And then you've got another room with 2 queens.
2 queens and a shower, toilet, sink, and it's got its own door from the room as well. So it's really laid out well for privacy. And the way we did this was like all of the females took the 2-bedroom. And then my son and I were banished to like the master bedroom and the common area as well. So gotcha. We really just kind of set this up well because, I've got teenage daughters now. I've got my wife and her friend who's obviously a mature lady as well. So we just kind of stayed, okay, guys, we're staying out of that side and we'll give the ladies their space. And that worked out well for us.
That's great. So it sounds like it was able to accommodate everyone really comfortably, which is what we want to hear.
Yeah. And I mean, there was only 6 of us there in a 2-bedroom that sleeps 9. Had we put all 9 in there, it'd have been a little bit more crowded. Mm-hmm. But no complaints. Like nobody felt crowded. We all had elbow room.
And you're not spending your time in the room anyways, right? It's all about the beach. It's all about the marshes. It's about the activities at the resort, which kind of like transitions us into the next topic I wanted to ask you about. You had mentioned that Lincoln has gone gaga for all of the resort activities these days. Yes. Can you tell me what we had going on there at the community hall?
So shuffleboard ping pong was his main thing. And we did not get into beanbag toss at either resort. But I just think he hasn't like figured out that it's a thing, right? But I mean, other than that, if there was nobody playing ping pong or nobody playing billiards or shuffleboard, Dad, let's play.
That's awesome.
And we did up until the point when, I don't know, it's a long story, but my middle daughter just went to a restaurant with us, couldn't find anything she wanted, was having a bad day. So my wife says, okay, I'll order you Chipotle. Mm-hmm. Well, the only Chipotle is off the island and it's 20 minutes away. So Lincoln and I suck it up and we're like, okay, we'll go to Chipotle. We'll go pick this up. We'll be back in an hour. Okay. Time you get there, wait on it, come back, which it was over an hour. But the bad news happened. And keep in mind, my son is just the absolute politest little gentleman you will ever find. He gets like compliments left and right from everybody around him as to how polite he is and how he's considerate of other people. So he got some brand new Crocs on him with Mickey on them. So they were new to him in like a bigger size. And I don't know what it was, but he rushed ahead to go open the door at Chipotle for somebody and turned his ankle over and tripped and couldn't stand, couldn't walk, couldn't anything. I had to carry him back to the car. And yeah, so it was not a good situation. And so a little medical emergency there. And again, this really super nice lady, just the kindest person you could ever imagine. Went into Chipotle, got an employee glove, filled it with ice, and gave him a little compression thing till we could get him back to the resort and back to mom. And so I called her instantly, like as soon as I got him stable and in the car. And what we decided to do was wait till tomorrow because he didn't want to go to the doctor. And if it was in pain or inflamed or anything tomorrow after icing it and whatever, we'd take him in. And so sure enough, she took him in the morning, and it was just a pulled muscle. Nothing was broken. Nothing was ever. And, 2 days later, he's kind of back in business.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But I mean, it did stink having to have the medical thing happen in the middle of your trip.
Because it eats up into your vacation time. As far as like the activities that were in the community hall, did you guys get to do anything within the community hall itself? Did you do like the Mickey tie-dye that they normally have underneath like kind of the veranda, anything like that?
No. Like my kids, my family didn't want to do anything. Keep in mind, Bryn had just came off of a dance competition with heavy competition for all of this. My poor wife has been dealing with 2 parents with dementia. We finally got my father-in-law in a home. And her whole take was this vacation is A, I need away from that. And B, I just need downtime. And so she wanted time in a pool deck chair with her book and downtime and just recoup. And that's pretty much where the family was. So we weren't into going and seeing the marshes. Now, my 18-year-old daughter, Reagan, she direly wanted to go kayaking and tried to convince me to go kayaking with her. And I was just about ready to give in and book it. And then we look up in the marsh and see a gator. And and my wife was like, oh, heck no. Like, that ain't going to happen. Like, I was all about the kayaking when you were telling me there's dolphins that pop up out here. Because like, I'm cool with the dolphins. Okay.
But not so much with the gators.
Not so much with the gators. And so Laura did some research, and apparently the gators will seek salt water out for the salt when they have some kind of an infection in them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because it's like, her research said, when you see a gator in salt water or saltish water, it's usually because they're going to the salt to kind of cure some kind of an infection or something.
Oh, that's fascinating, actually. But just to say, there is a ton of activities that you can do at Hilton Head, between fishing off the dock, between doing the kayaking, between all the kind of like family style activities that they run at the community hall. Definitely something to look up the next time that you're staying there, and to actually plan it out, because there's so much stuff going on that you kind of want to have a plan before you arrive there to make sure that you can take advantage.
Absolutely. Like, my wife was like, I'm so glad this wait list came through, because if we had to like check in for a night, move out for a night, come back for a night, all this in and out stuff, I would have killed you. And, and then the general consensus among the whole family was, we need to come here for a solid week, and we need to just make this a week vacation. Of course, I called my mom when she's there, and my mom's like, well, you're bringing me when you come, aren't you? And we're like, yeah, I guess we are. So
absolutely.
So mom and dad want in on this trip, and so I'll either be looking or talking to somebody or doing some horse trading or something, because maybe I'll possibly get a grand villa, even though they're an insane amount of points. But
or maybe like, I don't know, a 1-bedroom and then a 2-bedroom.
Yeah, or something along those lines. And it would probably be helpful for my parents to have something that was handicap accessible as well, because they're in their north end of the 80s now, and going up them 2 flights of steps was not easy, because
when we stayed there, we were in a studio, and the studios were actually super cute, well appointed, and I found to be probably the biggest DVC studio that I've stayed in. It had like their kitchenette that was in the entrance hallway, and then it had a window out onto like the front balcony that you access the space from. And then at the back, it had kind of your bed and your sofa, your pull-out sofa, and then a huge bathroom, as well as, the TV and the little table and stuff going on. Did you have rocking chairs on your balcony?
Yes, we did.
That, I love Hilton Head for that. I think
and
that's
because
awesome.
we were on the boardwalk, we pretty much had a balcony. It's only the boardwalk buildings there have a balcony the entire length. So the 1-bedroom part had a full balcony on it, and then the 2-bedroom part is a little offset, and it had, so the balconies weren't connected, but it had a full balcony on it as well. And the beautiful part about this is I guess all the cast members told us to check in. Oh, you guys are so lucky. You've got the one of the best rooms for firework views. And because the Hilton Head Island, there's kind of like a V-shaped slice missing out of the island.
Mhm.
And that's the sound. Okay. It's watery, it's marshy, but it's deep enough they can put pretty good sized boats through it and do it high tide, low tide. It doesn't matter. It's deep enough.
Yeah.
But the actual island government does 4th of July fireworks from the sound, which is immediately like Disney's got some prime location to do those. So what I didn't realize is on 4th of July, and I'll probably likely never go back on 4th of July, is it is worse than Magic Kingdom level of craziness
No.
on that island and around that whole surround. I talked to some like
No.
longtime Hilton Head owners that are 4th of July fans that they said they pretty much come almost every 4th of July. And they're like, look, you need to get all of your shopping done, all of your whatever, like by July 3rd. And the only time you leave the resort on July 4th is to take the bus back to the other place.
Oh,
Because
wow.
you will not find parking at the resort. You will not find parking there. And there's 50 bazillion locals that are crowding that sound and all of the restaurants and all of that stuff that's
across
right
the little bridge.
across the little bridge there from us. And it's just 20 levels of crazy. So Lincoln and I walked over there on July 4th at about 5:00, and everything, like the little bar that had like a sliced pizza window, probably had 100 people deep waiting for a slice of pie. And we didn't know this. So we didn't like stock up on groceries for this.
Right.
And so I'm like, there ain't nothing much here to eat. We're hungry. The good
Chicken
news
fingers.
the good news is Tide Me Over, the DVC quick serve by the pool, had extended hours due to July 4th.
Oh, thankful for that.
Yeah. So they had extended hours, and then the pool bar also had extended hours.
Okay, cool.
And I didn't know. I was hungry at the pool, but I just got a kid's meal to save some money.
Right.
And kind of Tide Me Over at Signals, the pool bar. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I get back to the main resort, I'm killer hungry. And that's where it comes into some like comparison here issues where Vero Beach just smokes them 20 ways from Sunday on food. Like it's not even a comparison in terms of food choices and everything else. But I understand why when Disney put this resort in, they had to fight the local government so hard.
Yeah.
And one of the concessions that Disney gave up is we're not going to have a full-scale restaurant here.
Yeah, no table service.
Yeah, no table service. We're not going to compete with the local mom and pop shops and everything else that's in the island life in the community.
And like, in all honesty, on any other given day, you can just walk across the little bridge that's there and head on over to like 5 or 6 restaurants that are right in that little kind of like town square-ish area. So they've got great dining options, like walking distance from the resort. So, but on July 4th, when you're kind of stuck and a prisoner to your resort because of all the people that are trying to be there for fireworks, then that honestly kind of like clouds the availabilities more.
Yeah, so that was a major backfire. My recommendation is still go to Magic Kingdom for July 4th. That is the best fireworks show you will ever see. It is amazing. It is in addition to Happily Ever After as well, because there's still families that 4th of July is their one and done trip.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't miss Happily Ever After. And then we're Disney, so we have to do a 4th of July celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And so I regret being gone for 4th of July. The last 2 4th of Julys, I managed to be here and had a wonderful time at Magic Kingdom. And I wish I would have stayed here because come to find out, park attendance was low that day here in Orlando, but it was absolutely crazy. If you take your worst Christmas crowding level of holiday visions of being in the park, that's what it was like being at Hilton Head on 4th of July.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
And quick tip for the 4th of July at Walt Disney World, do it on the 3rd.
Yeah. And then go do Epcot on the 4th because
Exactly.
Epcot show is only on the 4th. The Disney show is the 3rd and the 4th, right?
Exactly.
See, that's why you hang out with like Disney nerds and travel agents that know their stuff because we'll throw these little nuggets out there.
100%.
Yeah. We'll just drop them out there like, just a little mini flex to show you we got chops, right?
Absolutely.
So anyway, Sandy, yeah, that was it. And I can also tell you like the cast at Vero, they're some of the best you're going to find.
Amazing, right? We love the cast members at Vero. And as you know, we're owners there. And so we go back year after year after year, and it'll often be a lot of the same cast members that are there. And like you notice changes too. Like you notice that the GM has changed for the hotel, and they'll still come over and like greet you even though they're the new person and introduce themselves and things like that. So there's kind of like more of a, I don't know, a following, I guess you could say, for Vero in that sense, and a consistency.
No. Hilton has
Yeah?
an owner, a couple of owners group Facebook groups that are just
Yeah,
diehard. Like
it's true.
I used to think that, and you know, I know our buddy Derek over at DVC Resale Market is the Vero evangelist, as we've called him.
I was there at the same time as him this Christmas. So
Yeah,
it was fun.
yeah. Honestly, I don't get it, Derek. Like, I don't enjoy Vero for whatever reason. It doesn't hit the same with me.
I get it, Derek. I absolutely get it. 100% get it. 110% get it.
Yeah. So in terms of everything but the food and the cast, I am Team Hilton Head. I would personally rather drive 5 hours to Hilton Head than an hour and a half to Vero and spend more points. It's that awesome there. And so all of our listeners that are East Coasters that take I-95 down the coast to come to Walt Disney World, I completely get why you love Hilton Head, because you can like bookend your trip and you can do your chill resort and you can do your Disney stay and get your theme park in, your full-blown Disney, and then not have to fully leave the bubble, but be 5 hours closer to home and still get a little Disney in your side stay. And then you can do all of the island things that are there, the golf, everything else. Now, I asked my kids if I should bring my golf club, and they're like, we ain't playing golf in July. Like, and I was like, okay.
We have done that in the past. So we actually sign the kids up for like a golf lesson, and they have a great driving range at the multitude of courses that they have out there on Hilton Head Island. But right across from the resort where the beach house is, they do have like 2-3 golf courses, I believe, that are all there that you can get tee times at relatively easily. So it is a great add-on to a trip if you're staying there for maybe longer than just 3 days, Chad.
Yeah, it really is. And my whole family agreed 3 days was not long enough.
No.
But again, this was tacked onto a trip that had 2 days of driving coming from Detroit to Orlando, 4 or 5 days here in Orlando, a couple of days in Savannah, 3 more days there. Like it was close to a 2-week trip for the rest of the family. And for Lincoln, it was well over that because we left Detroit like June 16th. And we came down here,
awesome.
Went to Vero, went to our cruise, hung out here for a few days. And then the rest of the family joined up and kind of tag team that way. And yeah, so more to come on the cruise, Lighthouse Point. By the time this airs, we'll have done our live show because Gina wanted to do it live with the trip report on that one.
Absolutely.
But, man, I've got the epic summer lined up here, Sandy, between DCL, Walt Disney World, Vero, Aulani, Disneyland, and Universal on both coasts as well.
So, Chad, all we have to get you booked for now is an ABD.
I'm telling you, Sandy, it's in the cards, right? I think I just need to win the lotto to be able to afford one of those. But yeah, whenever we decided to do one, Andy Berry was like, dude, I'm in. Like,
absolutely.
And we almost have them convinced to do our listener cruise. We're going on the Wonder in 2025, I think April 7th to the 11th. And again, we're TA agnostic. Sandy would be glad to book you on that cruise, or Caleb, or any of our other travel agents, or use whoever you feel comfortable with. Because we're a community that realizes we'll never build around a travel agency. And the whole heart of DVC just doesn't set it up well for that. So we just embrace everybody and encourage you to find somebody who serves you awesome. And we have our own recommendations there as well. So, okay, Sandy, what else do we have left? Like, the food was meh. I will say this.
That's about it. Like, you wanted to do a little bit more of a comparison with Vero, but is that necessarily a fair comparison?
It is on a food level and it is on a cast level, because now, granted, the cast here were all working July 3rd and July 4th. And the food service cast were working extended hours on July 4th. So maybe
But
that's
that
why
doesn't excuse grumpy pantsness.
it doesn't. It
No.
doesn't. And it doesn't excuse like answering a question 3 times and them still missing it. So like you order chicken fingers, do you want barbecue sauce with this? Because they don't put it out there. They have to give you ration it, right? So 3 times, right? And like 4 different orders for it across both days between me and the kids.
Mm.
Like half the time it didn't happen, right?
And was this uniquely at the resort side or at the beach house side?
It was both. Like
Oh,
it
that's too bad.
was at the resort side, I ordered a chicken sandwich and repeated myself 3 times, no mayo.
Mm.
And she asked, well, where are you eating this? And I'm like, I'm eating it in my room. So she was like, is this for here or to go? And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. You're going to box it up anyways. Like, because I know you guys, but I'm going to eat it in my room. So I get back to my room. Guess what's on my sandwich? Mayo.
Mm.
And at that point in time, I really didn't want to come back in and trek back all the way up and down the stairs again and blah, 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 blah. I was just like, here, somebody else eat this. I'm done. I'm done. But yeah, it's we ordered and they say, okay, well, we're only open for another minute because it's 3:59 and we're closing at 4 today. Well, are you open or are you not? Like, and I realize this messes up your plans, but I'm also on the managerial side of things. And I'm sure your proprietor, which is what Disney calls their general managers of the restaurants, would love to have a few additional sales in today. Like
Yeah.
it's going to cost him next to nothing more because he's paying you anyways. So like, just take the order. And
I love the quick service at Vero. I find that they always have like really healthy offerings. And because they do have the larger kitchen for the wind and waves, you're able to like get stuff that you wouldn't normally get at a regular quick service. So like they'll have a meatloaf night or they'll have like different, chicken pot pies and things like that that are on the menu that are also really fun. My favorite is doing like the giant salad that they always have there.
Yeah,
You can just like trick it out with everything in the fridge practically. It's awesome.
Yeah. There's no comparison. Like Vero restaurants, hands down. The cast members at Vero, hands down. I didn't have a single negative encounter or grumpy pants or anything to say there. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I did feel really sorry for the staff at Hilton Head because I asked them, I was like, well, your costumes are all long sleeves and long pants, and you're here in the middle of summer. What's up? She just looked at me and she's just like, yeah, this is the official cast member uniform. And I'm like, come on, management. Like, treat our cast members better than that. Like, anyways, that's kind of neither here nor there. But yeah, if DVC management was listening, like, hook your cast members up with some comfortable, suitable clothing. Like, we're used to seeing them in shorts, short sleeve shirts and short pants, or at least knee length shorts is what Disney standard is typically. But we're used to seeing them in the world that way. It's summer in
Hilton Head,
beach
yeah,
resort.
definitely.
Like,
yeah. Did they have any characters that were there?
the board did show a few of them, but again, we're kind of charactered out from years and years and years of Walt Disney World and all this other stuff. So we didn't try to like go out of our way to do any of that.
Did you notice who was there? Like Pluto, I think in the past was there. Were there any other characters?
I don't know because they don't say, because I guess they don't know who's going to work, or if somebody calls in sick and they're not, if
Pluto doesn't call him sick, Chad.
Yeah, but a friend of Pluto might. Okay.
Maybe if it's their friend that helps them through the doors and things like that, then maybe.
Yeah. So definitely there, but friends with Pluto, friends with Mickey. I think when I was there last time, we did see Pluto in January, and the cast was like, it was dead. So I got great attention from the cast, great conversations, everything. Now, I will say this, I missed out on the whole check-in experience, which is normally where it kind of sets the stage for your cast member experience. Because my family got there before I did. I ended up like doing laundry and cleaning house here because I'm weird, Sandy. When I go on vacation, I want to come home to a clean house.
Oh, me too.
Right. So I have to like clean before I leave. And this happens every time I go to Detroit, when I leave this house, it's in impeccable shape.
I have to clean before we leave, normally because there's someone who's living at our house with our dog.
Got it. I have to do it because I don't want to come back in from an awesome, clean resort and come back into the real world of messiness.
Yeah, of course. That
So,
makes sense.
and I'm usually trying to get all my clothes done as well so I can pack what I want. Nothing's in the dirty clothes. If I want it, it's clean. So, right. It just goes hand in hand and hand in hand. Right. But
All good things. All good things. Did you notice if they're doing, when we were there last, they had cookies and like lemonade in the lobby? Are they still doing that?
I didn't even go to the lobby this time. So,
And it
I had
has such a nice like pool room and like sorry for billiards, and then like a little story nook, kind of like fireplacey type area in the main lobby. I
yeah.
love the main lobby.
Yeah. It's really cool. And Murgy's Den and
Mm-hmm.
like all of that is a really cool hangout area. We just didn't have a need to go there because we had our own 2-bedroom and
True.
everything else. One thing I did think was exceptionally weird is your parking. They give you a parking permit and they have your reservation number or confirmation number on there. But why do they have to put our names on there as well? Yeah, the whole time I was just like, am I going to have a listener that like I trashed their favorite resort or something? And like, I get a nasty note or my car keyed or like, can we not have a little bit of privacy on our cars? Like why do we have to have our names on them?
I'm pretty sure it's like that at Vero as well. It's only when you're at the resort, right?
Yeah, but at Vero,
and I'm not like a huge superstar in like the DVC world like you are, Chad, so I don't have to worry about that. And usually it's in Thomas' name.
Well, you're so sweet and lovable and adorable, and you're our Canadian like ambassador here, Sandy. You all the politeness and awesomeness of having Canadian neighbors from a former Michigan guy. You embody all of that. So,
oh, that's sweet. I'm happy to be the token Canadian on the panel at any time.
But that's pretty much what I've got to say on this. Any other questions on Hilton Head or this Vero thing?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe it would be good for us to do a completely separate show on your experience now that you've been there for a second time at Vero, and now that you've been there with a bunch of people, because it seems to me the last time that you went, it was more of like just the immediate family, and this trip you were there with a whole podcast crew. So I'd like to know like your take on being there with a bigger group as well, because often when we go, it's just like our little intimate family as well.
Yeah, it's well here's the TLDR on that one is it's like being on a cruise ship where you know a bunch of people and you run into them constantly and occasionally you do something. And so it was really nice that they had already lined up for s'mores and all of that fun stuff. And so Lincoln and I drove up at Vero and we get a text from Gina, dude, they're like s'mores are being served and it won't be going on very long. And she was already in line. So all we had to do was just hightail it over there. And we caught up with the rest of our party in line. And so it's really nice doing that. And then, we ran into a longtime listener and Patreon member, Rob Maderi, over at Vero as well, because he's moved to Orlando and did a little staycation over there with him and his wife. And
don't you love it when that happens?
Yeah, because it was legitimately running into like family. You know what I'm saying? It's we love Rob and longtime listener and supporter of the show. And because I ran into Rob in person, I was able to give him his yellow strap from the Yellow Strap Club, which is something that we do for Patreon members when we run into you in the park. I've created these keychains that are the Yellow Strap Club is what we call it. And so it's a keychain that emulates the little yellow strap. And like, you got to be super nerdy Disney to know.
to know what it is. Exactly.
Yeah. Cause it's fun to hand it to people and they're like, what's this? And they're like, then they think about it for a little bit and they're like, they get super excited. Oh my God, this is so cool. Pull up on the yellow strap. And I'm like, yeah. So now it's like, you've got a super nerdy insider Disney like memorabilia thing that only like the inner circle of nerds know. Like, because you've really got to be into Disney to know what the yellow strap is. And it's in the intro of our podcast episodes as well. Yeah, it's definitely there.
Pull up on the yellow strap.
So yeah, if we're going to be bringing Gina some when we go to California this time as well. So if you guys run into me, Gina, and Sandy, when you're here, I'll have to give you some to give away to people as well. Good. But it's a little thank you for our listeners and our Patreon supporters as well, because we publish as many shows as we can without a paywall. And we don't like paywalls. We want to give everything away. And our Patreon members are people who are givers as well and choose to give and support us. And it's really come in really handy Like I some major expenses came up this year. Every time I turn around, I feel like I'm getting a $150, $200 fee from some software or service that we use. And
Everything's a subscription now.
everything is, like, even Calendly, which is what we use to book our individual member recordings,
Yeah.
which we've got to get back to doing more of as well and getting them into the rotation. So
Absolutely. I love listener backstories. It's fabulous.
you know, they're really popular with the audience. It does zero for me on an SEO Google level because, like, nobody really Googles Fred
But we're a
Flintstone's
community,
DVC
Chad.
store.
It builds
Yeah, I
that
know, but we're a
community.
community, right? It's the give and take of the content creator. Do you do this to build community, or do you do this to grow community, right?
Yeah.
So, because if we can get the SEO right and a show hits, we will grow community. But this is kind of like building community in the network, and community is what we're about here as well. That's the number one thing.
Absolutely.
Sandy, let me do a quick wrap up here and a huge shout out of thanks to World of DVC, including DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store, and Monera Financial. If you're looking to buy right now, it's got to be summer, and the Hilton Head contracts have flown off the shelf over at DVC Resale Market. I'm looking at them, and there's only 7 of them available, and there's none in February, which is my use year because, of course, I have to look at that. But we're seeing an average price of around $66 a point. Some of these are listed a little below that, and some of them are listed a little higher than that. But averaging out is about $66 a point. And they can help you find a contract here because last time I looked, it was like $160 a point direct. So you're saving $100 a point buying resale. And if you're buying this to just book Hilton Head, you don't care about booking a new resort or anything else. So dvcresalemarket.com. Let them know you heard about them here on the My DVC Points platform. And Sandy at experienceMagicalAdventures.com will be glad to help you with any travel agency needs that you have. So, Sandy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. You know, it's always so much fun when we get together to talk about everything Disney.
Yeah, everything Disney and everything else, because our pre-show, post-show chat just goes on and on and on as well. So,
oh yes,
that's because we're actually friends in this deal too. So
we are indeed.
That really, really, truly helps. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been a longer show than normal, but hopefully you learned something in today's episode that'll help you go out there and plan something magical at Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort, because I highly, highly, highly recommend you saving up some points and going there one summer and experiencing all of the awesomeness of Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back with another episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.